just my space.
Well, we just thought rather than have a GA tonight, it would be a good idea for everybody to get together and just talk. And so I'm glad everybody's here. There's really not a formal meeting. And so we don't have to go by the hand signal rules or anything. The only rule I've heard anybody really mention is that we limit our comments to 5 minutes max so everybody can have a chance to talk. And that being said, I'll shut up.
What?
Can we introduce ourselves?
Yeah.
Because I'm new. I don't know hardly anybody. What's your name?
Brian Cox.
Brian. William.
Hi, Maria.
Danny.
Baby Bear. No, I'm just kidding. I'm Ethan Johnson.
Ethan.
Yeah, we have a bad plan.
Yeah. Hi, Mom.
Braxton. Hi, Bear.
I'm sorry, what was
I'm
your name?
Braxton.
Braxton Simon.
Under Bear Dog.
Peter.
That's right. Matthew. Queen.
Delphia. What?
And
And I'm Sherry.
And I'm Robert.
And I'm Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn, for letting us leave here.
It's a little more comfortable, a little more quiet.
Yes, thank you.
No jackhammers,
no
No
airplanes,
airplane.
no airplanes. Well, not like
no
this.
pity cars.
Ambulances. No ambulances.
Yeah.
Or
It's
helicopter.
early.
Were you out there tonight there was a 10-car cop chase?
No,
Were you out there tonight there was a 10-car cop chase?
Which night? I've seen
This was
several
about 2 weeks
on
ago.
top chases.
Okay, we do not know if there was a arrest tonight because some of the women of Wilmington did a mic check at Wells Fargo Bank.
And I probably called you to keep members of our and didn't get an answer.
From what I hear, there was a paddy wagon and about 8 police cars at the bank right after they went down there, so we don't know the status. It could be that some people were arrested because I know the last mic check bank, when I rode by, there were police cars there, but the people who did the mic check had already left. And so I don't know the status of the well.
Forgive my ignorance. What is a mic check?
A mic check is where you go into a building or you go into a meeting and you say, mic check, and then the other people with you say, mic check, and then if you have an issue to discuss, you say it and the other people repeat it. So it's a very loud way to replace a PA system.
I think I saw one, the Walmart mic check video. That's,
Probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a political, it's like a zap action, like
Yeah,
theater.
exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's the human microphone.
Yeah, I
It's
like
a
that.
human microphone.
I just want to say, if I get up and leave and step out the door, it's just because I'm going to smoke a cigarette. It's not to be disrespectful to anyone. I just want to get
Well, thanks for getting up and
established
going
ahead
outside
of
to
time.
smoke.
So please don't take it personally.
Just don't blow your smoke on you, and then you'll be okay. I finally quit.
We do have asthma in the house here, so.
Yeah,
Right
couple
on
of
the
asthmatics.
other side of the.
I have no problem
Yeah,
respecting.
there's a couple of asthmatics in the house. Arms up as dude.
Zach, what's up?
What's it?
Hi, Zach.
Zach.
Hey, Zach. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Zach. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Zach!
Oh, this is Zach.
It's actually not my name.
Zach! Were you part of the well mic check by chance?
Let me see.
Sorry.
I can find it in
Were
the-
you part of the well mic check by chance?
No.
Okay.
Why not?
No answer on Kate's phone.
Yeah, I tried calling Kate and recorded it. No answer. Don't have an answer for
Hi,
me.
Kate. It's Lynn. Give me a call when you get this message. Thanks. Bye.
I'll make sure I go down to the jail.
Attorney
Ask my mom when you
contact
check.
or anybody they call if they're.
Cliff,
I believe they do.
they wouldn't,
I'm thinking they should have told
they'd still be going.
They have to have.
Yeah, that's why I told him.
this.
That's why I told him. Little bear right there.
Tiny bag.
Tiny
Well,
bear.
they told everyone I was already in there before I was done with booking.
Yeah, but you were already through the first part where they put you on the counter, and they're like, "Let me pat you down, sir." Sure. Yeah. You gotta get through that before you ever go in the system. They didn't know you were about to enter that. You talked to the magistrate. You will get arrested.
We don't know. We don't
We're pretty
know.
sure they're in jail because there was a mic check done before their mic check of another Wells Fargo, and
So that probably
Those
was
people
all
got-
Wells Fargo was in town.
yeah, those people got kicked out, and they decided to go through Wells Fargo downtown. And when me and Shelby rode by, there was at least 8 cop cars in the paddy wagon outside.
which Wells Fargo did you go to?
One on Market.
I don't understand how they can be arrested for,
Disorderly conduct.
Trespass.
Private property.
Especially since one bank manager told us that we weren't welcome on, for today, we weren't welcome on Wells Fargo property for any more mic check stuff. She said we could come back tomorrow.
do y'all get that on videotape where they tell you you're not welcome there?
I
Y'all
got her.
videotape that?
Yeah, but I can't, my phone's about to, it's too low to play a video, but yeah, I did get it videoed her saying that we needed to get out
And when you do the mic check, you're not doing anything but talking.
we just did mic check. But we actually,
Yeah.
while
So
we're,
if you went in there and danced and did a dance,
They
they
kick you out.
They
Flash
kick
mob?
they would, yeah, flash mob, they'd kick you out too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
but we had a
Kick you out
new
too.
thing that me and Shelby were thinking about
Two
was,
of-
if you were in line, then you could just be like, wait in the teller line, and you could be like, hey Shelby, did you hear that this bank stole this much money from us?
Right.
And you say it in a louder voice, but not loud enough where they can kick you out.
It's a submissive mic.
That's it.
Judy and I got thrown out of Bank of America for going in and delivering a petition.
I got my charger in the car.
Mr. Mike checks people.
We're testing,
All kinds of stuff.
Do you bank there? What if you did a mic check at your own bank?
Oh, a lot of people have, they lock people in the bank,
She locked the door after us.
in the bank in LA, or no, San Francisco.
They did it in New York too.
Because they went in and did a mic check and wanted to close their accounts,
Yeah.
and they locked them in the bank.
That's considered kidnapping
yeah,
though.
right there.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, that's technical kidnapping, because if you hold
See that line
somebody,
over there?
And the light is on the left.
but you're also allowed to detain somebody if it's suspected of a crime. There's a fine line there too.
Yeah, but you can't forcibly remove them while you're detaining them. You can't
Depends
like
on
lock
which day,
them
and it
on.
depends if they're in commission of a felony.
Yeah.
Mic checking might be a value.
It's misdemeanor.
Well, we're testing the waters because as we do research on how many foreclosures there have been in the area and which banks have done foreclosing, our concern is whether or not there's proper documentation and whether or not, you know, the foreclosures themselves are legal.
They're not. I guarantee you they're not.
And so we want to test the waters to see what we can and
Well,
can't do.
maybe one,
Maybe. If you'll find me the one legal one,
maybe one.
then I'll buy you dinner. They're all filled with
I know.
fraud.
I just
So
heard.
all you have to do is ask to demand a note. I mean, Peter, is that what people are doing? I've seen that on YouTube, that Gallup and,
I've seen a lot of that stuff going by, and they are demanding the documents to prove that the person that's trying to foreclose actually owns the property or owns the debt.
Mhm.
And, if the property was registered under some new electronic registration system, they can't find it, they can't produce it. Older properties before the new electronic registration often have the notes and stuff available. But I think even some of those have been packaged up and sold, so they may not be able to get any of them.
Well, since about all the mortgages
So-
in the country have been bundled in some way,
Yeah.
so
Right.
that's investment.
right.
If that's the case, it's almost impossible to prove.
My mortgage has been sold 3 times.
Right.
Yeah,
So if they can't legally produce the paper, they cannot legally foreclose,
right.
How
right?
about if someone can go and sue after the foreclosure to move back into their house?
Well, you're asking technical questions
Yeah.
related to real estate, and I can only give you general notions.
Okay.
I can't, I don't
Get on
do,
You know who it is.
Right now.
well, I don't do foreclosure, I mean, I have a general understanding of what's going on, because I've read up on it, not that I've done it. But they can't prove, in most instances, but trying to fight against them requires an experienced lawyer and money.
And that's what they get you, cause they wait you out.
I don't
That's
know.
why if we had to put our finger on 3 goals for the local group, we've talked about it a lot, and it would be getting rid of corporate personhood, getting corporate money out of local, state, and national politics, and a foreclosure, a moratorium foreclosure until these questions are addressed and banking regulations are adjusted to allow for people to have adequate voice in foreclosures, because we do feel that people are being foreclosed on improperly
Yes.
and illegally.
Yeah.
And so that's basically where we're coming from as a local group.
I think you've got 2 things in there three, actions, of course, that I recommended, and anyone can, recommend additional ones or comment on these, are corporate personhood, foreclosure moratorium, and voter suppression.
Oh, that's right.
Voter suppression.
Voter suppression.
is the third.
And
We're seeing a lot of voter ID bills going before the Senate, state
January.
legislators and all that.
well, they're doing it all over the country. And one of the things that they're accomplishing as they get them passed is the disenfranchisement of lots and lots of people, including college students. And I think part of our outreach should be the voter suppression, and which should be something that will attract more college students to what it is that Occupy is involved in, because they have a stake in that game.
And more minority.
Well, absolutely. Well, minorities are in all of this stuff.
I don't say it.
And we're also apolitical because we're neither Democrat nor Republican, right or left. Our membership comprises all kinds of different people. And so our goal is to make sure that everybody has an equal voice. And, you know, that's why we run our GAs without leaders. It's a leaderless organization for that very reason. Everybody has an equal voice.
Go back to you,
About that.
Shelby posted on the UNCW thing about the voter suppression, was like, they're on board with that, but of course they're in either finals or getting ready to go on the holiday until the
Finals,
first of the year.
Yeah, they're doing finals now. I'm trying to,
But it looks like they're willing to help out with putting some kind of form together at UNCW when the new semester starts.
there's a Facebook page. I don't know who posted it. It might have been
I think it was Rock.
Rock, yeah, that had lots of information about student voting, I think it is. Is that what it is?
I'm not sure, I didn't look at all the ways.
Student voting, what you need to know, is the name of it.
There were about 10 posts on our discussion page, but I went to the Facebook page itself, and there was just loads of information on it. So I'm sure it's valuable to what we're trying to do.
Is on that Facebook page, does she describe what the problem looks like? I mean, what do we?
No, it's not she. I'm not sure who owns that page.
I think it was Rox.
No, but what Rox did was she took links from that page and posted
okay.
them on our site.
I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, but that's what she did.
What they're doing with the voter suppression of students is what they're saying is, you have to live, like when I went away to school, I chose to keep my voter registration in Penn County.
Okay.
Because there was an election that was going on that I wanted locally to vote in. But I could have just as easily voted in Orange County. Okay? What they want to say now is you have to live in the county for a year. See, all I had to do in Orange County when I was at Chapel Hill was basically show up with my registration form and my residence hall information, and they would have signed me up to vote. They're trying to get rid of that, and they say you have to live somewhere for a year before you can vote.
It's basically going back when you and me were in college, when they were
Right.
doing it, because they had a difference between residence and domicile. Domicile was where you were temporarily staying at. Your residence was where your permanent address was. For a lot of college students, the domicile is a temporary residence. It's not a permanent residence, but they're in transition.
Yeah, but it was harder to do here because we had so many people who were actually paying rent in New Hanover County. In Chapel Hill, most of the kids are in dorms.
Let me make an observation on that, because this is these voter ID laws have been passed in 31 states around the country, and some of them are a lot more restrictive than others. I think Texas is probably the classic example of what they're trying to do to students. In Texas, they will not accept a college ID as valid ID for purposes of voting. So it doesn't matter.
NRA card.
Yeah, they'll take an NRA card as proof, but they won't take a student ID card, which means that all over the country they're targeting specific groups that have a disproportionate problem in trying to produce students' IDs. And so it's, and students are part of that. They're trying to target people that were supporting Obama during the 2008 election, and so they targeting black folk. They targeting some of the elderly. A lot of the elderly don't have valid government issued ID, and they're targeting students. So it's
Hey, I got a question. How do they, I know how we do voter registration in this state. How do they do voter registration in this state? Let's say anybody can
all
go,
of the laws are different.
and, I mean, in this state, anybody can go to the board of elections, get a sheet from voter registration cards, and then go out and register.
All of them are different. Example, in Florida, the legislature passed laws that were so onerous that the League of Women Voters had to stop doing voter registration drives, because after you sign up a person, you had 1 or 2 days to deliver the registration forms to the Board of Election. Otherwise, you were guilty of a felony.
Well, they had
This is-
teachers,
this
there
is-
was a high school teacher
Sure.
that was registering 18-year-olds in high school, and she
She had to
kept
stop.
them for more than 48 hours, and she's up on charges.
And
And
look,
lost her job.
it's onerous, and if the college students knew that they were victimized by the same system, it might be something that would inspire them to get more involved in what Occupy is all about. But it's horrific. They might have already stolen the 2012 election by implementing the voter ID laws around the country.
Because understand, in 2000, what's her name?
Catherine Harris,
Yes.
she dumped a lot of people off the
She
roll.
purged over 20,000 African American voters.
So it was something like 47,000.
It might be more, but
It might have been more, but that's in total. I'm just talking about just black folk. And all she did was, she went through list of felons from other states, and if your name was the same as that felon's name, she automatically purged you.
whether
Whether you were the same person or not.
She was purging
Correct.
ministers. That's what got her in trouble.
Correct. Let me tell you what I did, and I think I've already posted it. I went to Wikipedia, and I did a search of voter suppression, and they outlined about 10 different forms of voter suppression that are sort of historic, and give a whole background of how the whole voter suppression thing is playing out historically and today. So I'm almost sure I posted that link. Yeah, I think I told Shelby that I posted it. So
Peter, that homelessness is suppressed. You have to own a home, or you have to be, I'm not sure.
You gotta have
Like
an
a
address.
permanent
You gotta have an
resident.
address.
Resident
Permanent
address.
address.
remember, all the states have different voting
It's kind of like a
laws, and so it is like a poll tax, and it's just like they're trying to prevent poor people and people without means from being a part of the electoral process, just doing all kinds of stuff.
And in Louisiana, all you gotta do is have a P.O. box listed as permanent residence, and you can vote.
That might have been what it was, but if they've had new legislation,
That's not the easiest thing to get.
it may not be. No, if the legislature has changed and you have a Republican governor in Louisiana, and I know you do, that's Bobby Jindal.
Kenneth Page.
No, but all of them, the Republican governors all over the country were introducing the same kind of legislation. The same thing that got Scott Walker in Wisconsin involved in a recall petition because of what he did, disenfranchising the unions and closing precincts that were in low-income neighborhoods, cutting back on early voting, accessibility. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And so, what the election laws were last year or year before may not be what they are today. So you just, it's onerous. It's really evil.
I think neither of my grandmothers would have been able to vote under the laws that are being passed today because neither of them drove. Neither of them owned a home. until the last 2 years of their lives, 3 years of their lives were bottom homes, but they still didn't have a driver's license. And so it would have been very difficult for them to vote
Well,
under the laws that were being
And
passed.
people back then didn't have, there wasn't, I drove a lady to the polls the, last election who is 93 and has voted in every state, federal and local election since she got the vote, which was, well, first of all, she's a woman, and second of all, she's African American, so I don't know exactly when, I think she said Herbert Hoover, but she probably would not be able to vote now. She said she never drove, you know, whether she, I don't know, but I mean, this is a woman who is dedicated. The woman is 93 and it's still going to the polls. And that's just wrong. It's just wrong. There are so many people out there who don't vote, who are capable of voting and don't, and then people who really want to vote and can't.
Yeah, I get your grievance about, you know, women who fought for the right to vote, and, you know, African Americans. I've got a friend who says, you know, when the Constitution was written, I wasn't even considered a human being, you know, and so in the, you know, in the interest of you know, fairness, if you will, I mean, you know, starting from scratch is actually, at least as gesture, is just.
But it's evil. I wrote a piece on it, and whenever Roxanne gets ready to publish the newsletter, I'm going to turn it over to her. But I started back with Abraham Lincoln, and one of the immediate incidents that led to Abraham Lincoln's death was a speech that he made when he declared that black folk were going to be citizens. And at that speech, the assassins made the decision to kill him. And then you had the stuff going on in the 60s with the Voting Rights Act, when all of the Southern white Democrats that were opposed to giving black folk the right to vote moved out of the Democratic Party into the Republican Party, which created the modern day Republican Party that is anti-voting as it relates to black and poor people. So it's a big issue, and it's just one of those things that we have to stand against. You know, there's so much for voter suppression. I don't mean to go on and on, but I just
the problem with it is if we raised enough stake and went for national voter registration law instead of state law, which to me would make sense for federal elections. The fear that I have is with the Supreme Court that we have today, we would lose even worse than we've lost at the legislative level, because at least now governors like Purdue can veto the legislation, which she did in this state. But, you know, if we don't increase progressive balance in government, state, nationally, and locally, we're in trouble, because they're not going to support us.
Well, that's why I think that our main focus ought to be on corporate personhood, because it's the money that's driving all of these decisions. The Koch brothers' money has funded these right-wing initiatives, and voter suppression is one of them, all over the country. And as long as there's unlimited money backing people that are comfortable with disenfranchising citizens, then they're going to continue to be disenfranchised. And so I just think corporate personhood is where we can really have our biggest impact on virtually all of this stuff, because the right wing is playing to corporate money. That's what they're doing. And the Democrats are obviously influenced by it, but they just don't get as much. I'm not in charge of anything. Go ahead.
Okay, and that vein, you went to the Art Pope thing
Yeah.
on Tuesday?
Yeah, I reported the other night, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's actually on live stream. You can look at it.
Okay.
Did you post the link up on the
I think I
Facebook
did,
site?
yeah.
What's your name?
Trey.
Trey. I'm Sherry. We talked on the phone.
Sweet.
Where is it at, live stream?
I think so, yeah, if you go through the Art Pub Exposed.
Oh, yeah.
It was informative, but, it just scratched the surface, really. It was their first meeting, and, they didn't have any funding for the next. I mean, I'm giving you the bad side first, I guess, but, you know, there were 4 speakers, a high school student, you know, that mainly, talked about the voter suppression and that sort of thing. There was, you know, a couple of other, 3 other people in charge of different aspects. I guess it's all on there. I've got a big stack of propaganda, you know, to expose. You know, it's from that, and we've talked about using the back of it and making up a flyer with some remedies, some you know, alternatives to shopping at Maxway and Roses and such. So I want to try to get those done. If we need to make more of those, that's fine. But my wife actually called police department today, find out, you know, what the logistics are on protesting in front of Roses, or at least passing out literature and so forth. And there's not much to it. It's basically just informing you're going to be there and that sort of thing. But so you know, the pamphlet that we have just talks about, you know, where he got his money and what he's doing in politics and how he's suppressing voter rights and that sort of thing, you know, feeding off the people that, you know, he's taking their money and putting it into politics. I think his goal this year is $2 million. He sits as the president of a lot of these boards of committees that he's created, you know, to funnel money into, you know, push his agenda. But, you know, it's hard just to say, okay, I realize all the negativity, but I'm not going to shop there just in light of that. People need, you know, alternatives and such. So.
And do read the New Yorker articles. New Yorker or Vanity Fair?
New Yorker.
New Yorker. Do read the New Yorker article.
On October.
The New Yorker was 5 weeks ago. But do read the article.
Are you banned?
New York.
Got a post up or something? Find it. Got a post link.
Well, you can get the link.
I think you posted it, didn't you? I think I saw it.
I can post it again.
It's probably down in the
As a matter of fact, if you do a Google on him, first thing that pops up is that article.
Well, you know, one interesting thing about the Raleigh movement there, a sympathizer came to the encampment. He's the mayor of Raleigh's neighbor, and he gave place on his lawn for some campers, and they actually, this person and the mayor share a driveway, a dirt road with signs all along, and then the mayor won't come home, he's staying at the Holiday Inn.
I've passed down, if I may, the model resolution that
Same
is,
thing you had up on the railroad?
yeah, and I just thought I'd bring it for the benefit of persons that may not have seen it. And this is about corporate personhood. And if I may, I'm going to just talk a little bit about, I guess most of you all know about this stuff, but I think it's back in 2010, the Supreme Court upheld the Citizens United case and declared that corporations are people with free speech rights, and that they in essence could contribute any amount of corporate money to political causes that they choose, and that they could do it anonymously. And